Dudes, it's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So we got the first 1999 episode of This Week in Warframe. We're going over the entire weekly reset, everything you'd expect as a Warframe player this week. And you heard that right, 1999 is already out. It's been out for about 2 or 3 days, and there is a new type of weekly tied to 1999. We'll cover briefly today, but we'll cover it more extensively next week when it does fully reset. But before we go over this stuff, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, news videos, discussion videos, all that kind of stuff. The right place for Warframe content. And we're also live on stream right now, and we're doing these new weekly missions with chat as well. So come on, stop by if you haven't already on the live stream channel. All right, starting with the first item here, we got Teshin's rotation here with 30,000 endo for 150 steel essence. If you got a lot of steel essence, sure, go ahead and grab it, but not the most worth to a lot of players, because endo is not that hard to farm. And we also got Kuva and relics as per usual. So yeah, now that we have 1999 out, there's going to be a bunch of new stuff involving that update that you can actually grind out. But don't forget too, the old updates are still here. The whole Zeramon, Incarnons and all that stuff, and also, Archon hunts, even like, Kavia, EDA. The amount of weeklies in Warframe is stacking up, so we're getting lots of stuff on a weekly basis. And like I said, next week will be even more weeklies, because the weekly from this week for 1999 actually got set to 9 days, so it wouldn't be overwhelming. But yeah, you're going to have basically a new type of NIGHTWAVE track called the Calendar for 1999, and we'll show that briefly, but keep in mind it has not reset yet. Alright, moving on to the Dorma Zone over here. Let's see what we got. Anything good? We've got an arcane reactor blueprint. Always nice to see, getting that for Pathos clamps instead of plat. We've got a secondary arcane adapter, another thing that you can get from the new calendar system, but you can also get for Pathos clamps here. Rifle rivet mod, 5k Kuva, and a Forma blueprint. So yeah, this is a pretty good thing to get here. An arcane reactor, maybe put on Site 09, or put it on a companion or something.
Nothing tickled your curiosity?
But yeah, as I was stating, since we have a new type of weekly, this is going to be minor 1999 spoilers. Before I show this part, this is potential minor 1999 spoilers, just to let you know about what this is. So this is called the Calendar over here, and this is going to give you weekly loot. But as you can see, 6 days, 23 hours. They actually made this one like a week and a half because of 1999 coming on a Friday. But you get things like guaranteed Archon shards, guaranteed Arcane reactors, and stuff like that from this weekly system. We'll be covering this next week extensively, okay? You can also watch my video from yesterday if you want to see how that works. Alright, moving on to the next weekly, your Elite Deep Archimedian. This is going to be a great source of Archon Tau shards, fused Archon Tau shards. Well, actually, you can fuse them up if you get this system, but also normal Archon shards too. There's a guaranteed Archon shard once per week from one of the vendors here, and then you also get plenty of high drop rate Archon shards in the Elite Deep Archimedian missions and Netrocell missions. If you want to get access to the Elite Deep Archimedian, it requires rank 5 with this syndicate, though, so keep that in mind. We're showing you a pretty high-level mission currently.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, as far as your mission types for this Elite Deep Archimedian, it looks like a pretty straightforward and easy week of this mission. It's like basically a super sword is how I view it. Alright, for your first mission type, you got Exterminate, a totally free mission completion. It's basically to exterminate, but the modifiers of this one, Fissure Cascade. Fissures rip into the mission, causing the enemy level to go up by 1 every 10 seconds. Destroy them to stop the level from increasing further. Don't even worry about it, it's a free modifier. Another free modifier, Alluring Arcanids. As dog robots charge their attacks, they will pull Warframes towards them. Free modifier. And the last modifier, House of Regeneration. Enemies slowly regenerate health. This is one of the easiest EDA missions ever on this first Exterminate right here. Sweet. Free shards. Alchemy, the second mission. A little bit of an annoying mission, but still pretty easy to do. Alchemic Invulnerability is your first modifier. 10% of the enemies are equipped with an Impervious Elemental Barricade that can only be destroyed by the correct amphor of the corresponding element. So basically, you have a bunch of immune enemies on this map. They're going to have like an icon above their head that requires you to throw a grenade at them the correct type, but no one's actually doing that. Just be immune walking around. So bring frames like they have Gloom on there to slow them down. They'll be slow and immune, and they're not going to really bother you too much. Next one, Post-Mortal Surges. Slight enemies explode with void energy. Enemies that you can kill will explode in a pretty damaging explosion in an AoE. Just be careful about that. It shouldn't be too big of a deal, though. Just be aware of your surroundings. Speaking of being aware of your surroundings, Vampire Liminus is your third modifier, and this is probably the most annoying modifier that we can get here. These slow-moving Vampire Liminus clouds will chase you down and drain your energy and health, and can hit you pretty hard. So be aware of that if you're standing still, you might be getting your health and energy drained pretty quickly. So be really, really aware. And for the final mission, Disruption, pretty straightforward, easy one here. The Demolist for this tile set are very easy to kill. But the first one, Unified Purpose. Enemies can target and destroy the conduit. So, see how I was telling you that the first mission was free? This last one would not be as free, because that means the enemies can target the conduits for disruption and destroy them without being a Demolist. So you need to be kind of treating this as like a mini mobile defense a little bit. If you activate a tower, make sure it's not going to get completely annihilated by enemies the second you activate it, or you will potentially fail this final mission and have to do the whole thing all over again. But yeah, once you activate a tower, enemies will target it. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad for you. But yeah, again, if you have Gloom, like I told you from earlier, or like a slowing ability, that can protect the conduit pretty easily. Next one, Bolster Belligerence. All enemies have Overguard equal to 50% of their maximum health. As long as you have a somewhat decent weapon, shouldn't be a factor at all, because that's not that much Overguard. It is Overguard, though, so the Gloom thing might be a little bit worse now that I'm talking about this Overguard here, because until you break their Overguard, they cannot be slowed by Gloom. But still, shouldn't be too overly tanky. And for the final modifier, Myopic Munitions. Enemies will only take damage within 15 meters of the player. Okay, that actually made this last one a little bit more annoying. So, we have enemies targeting the conduits. Everything has Overguard, and you can't damage them unless you're like right next to them. So that's a pretty annoying final mission, but it shouldn't be that difficult. As long as you take it slow, you should be able to clear it, no issues at all. Let's take a look at these other modifiers here. Okay, we've got Powerless, making it where we cannot use abilities until we get 50 kills in the mission. That could be pretty annoying for frames like Zaku and like Equinox and all that kind of stuff. So pretty annoying modifier. But if you do have like Spectres or whatever, you can get Elite on call kills to bypass this. But it looks like there is gear embargo, so potentially not an option this week. Ammo deficit. Ammo restored by drops and gear is reduced by 75%. So basically you can't really depend on your abilities to be in the mission, and you also don't have that much ammo either, so that's not good. Third modifier, you have secondary wounds. Gain puncture stats every time you take damage, which makes you deal less damage to enemies. So shouldn't be that big of a deal, but if you have not the best gear, it might be a pretty big problem. And for the final modifier, Gear Embargo. Gear cannot be used. So this combined with Powerless means you are pretty much powerless in these missions until you get those 50 kills. So, yeah, that was the main option I'd recommend to you. This means you can't use Arcwing guns either. So, a pretty nasty combination here for Gear Embargo and Powerless for that final mission. But either way, that's your modifiers for the week. You don't have to turn them all off. You don't want to get all the loot. Now that you can farm Phosphor pretty easily from faceoff, maybe this 50 Phosphor here is not that big of a deal. But either way, that's your EDA. As far as Bird 3's guaranteed weekly shard, let's see what you got, Bird 3. We got the Amber Archon shard, so that's good. Gives you things like casting speed and parkour velocity. All right, let's move on to the the Archon Hunt and the Daviri Incarnons, because those are still important to people. And this week of Daviri Incarnons is pretty powerful. Let's start off with the Archon Hunt here. We've got the Red Archon, the Wolf Archon, with the shard being things like power, strength, and duration. And for mission types, you got Rescue, Defense, and the Final Boss Showdown. Pretty straightforward, easy Archon Hunt. Although defense missions do take quite a while for these missions. So you might have to waste a little bit of time. Was that Sampote's damage? Sampote's damage, nice. That should be fun. All right, moving on to the Daviri stuff. For the normal path circuit, we've got Nidus, Octavia, and Hera. Wow. Now, these are some premium choices for getting a guaranteed frame. These are some of the most annoying frames to farm right here, guys. So, you got Nidus coming from Infested Salvage. He's very annoying to farm, in my opinion. Octavia coming from multiple missions, like Daimos Survival. Where else does she come from? I think she comes from like a special spy mission or something, too. So, very annoying to farm. And then Hera comes from Defection, Kuva Spy missions, and some other stuff, too. So, you have your pick of the litter as far as how annoying these are to farm, guys. So, Nidus' helmet is Larva, which pulls enemies in and makes them easier to kill, kind of. Octavia's helmet is Resonator, which makes a disco ball that makes enemies distracted. And Hera's helmet is Condemn, which gives you shields and stuns enemies that are hit by this. I'd say I'd probably go for Nidus here. I have bad memories of farming Nidus as a newer player back in the day because it was just so bad to farm. But really, guys, these are all some of the, again, these are some of the most annoying frames to farm. So whatever one you don't have that you want, I'd say go for that. Keeping in mind that all of their primes are also vaulted too. So I would say go for Nidus, but I wouldn't blame it for picking any of the other ones either. And you can get a augment mod for the frame as you pick that frame for the circuit. All right, moving on to the Steel Path Daviri. Let's see what we got. All right, we got the Boar week, it looks like. A reminder, if you haven't played in a while, you can get this stuff such as Kuva or Rivens instead of Incarnates if you prefer that. Alright, let's go over what all these Incarnons do and how insanely strong they are, because the Boar Incarnon is really, really good. So starting off with the Incarnons here, we got the Boar Incarnon, and the Boar Prime is currently available in Prime Resurgence if you want to actually get that. As far as what the Boar Incarnon does, after a couple headshots, you can go into Incarnon form, which is a chaining fire beam that has built-in heat damage. That heat damage can go crazy. I have done thousands of heat procs in like a mere second with this Boar Incarnon, with some of the crazy Incarnon forms it can get, or Incarnon upgrades. So for example, look at this one right here, Survivor's Edge, increasing crit chance and status chance for both forms, but the crazy one here is Elemental Balance, increasing status chance by 96% on the beam mode, and then that can scale with mods too. So you get a crazy fire beam on this thing, but you can actually go for crit as well. Critical Parallel gives you crit chance and crit damage, can be very good for the primary shotgun form. Yeah, the shotgun form hits really hard, and the beam form has lots of heat proc. So a very versatile weapon, a very strong weapon. I'd recommend it as the #1 choice this week, spoiler alert. #1 choice this week, Boar Incarnon. Second Incarnon we have here, the Gamma Core Incarnon. This thing is going to be more niche, definitely more niche. The primary beam is a single target laser that has built-in magnetic damage, but the Incarnon form, after you get some headshots, will let you release a suction grenade launcher, I guess I'd call it, where it pulls enemies in and then explodes. And as far as the damage type of the explosion, it's a cold damage explosion. So you can do magnetic and cold if you care about those things, but it is not exactly the top tier weapon. It can be a little bit of fun, but yeah, it's not AoE in the primary form, which makes it really, really hurt. And the Incarnon form is a delayed explosion too, which means it's not really fast at killing either. So if you like the Synod Gamma Core, it can technically give you some energy back every here and there, but yeah, it's not viewed in a very positive way by most high-level players. But you know, it can still get the job done if you really want to make this work. A beam secondary weapon. The Anku Incarnon, another one that's not viewed super positively by players. I actually like this one, though. It's going to be a Scythe Incarnon for melees, and once you get your 6x multiplier and do a heavy attack, you can actually transform into Incarnon form, which gives you lots of stat buffs on this thing. So, for example, you get increased range of 3 meters and guaranteed slash procs after doing a slide attack for 6 seconds. And the way that scythes work in Warframe, a heavy attack of a scythe will do a guaranteed slash proc. And this thing is not ignoring that either. So this thing can do a guaranteed double slash proc with the special passive. So you do a slide attack, then do a heavy attack, and you get double guaranteed slash proc from a scythe. So very good stuff there. And since it's a guaranteed slash proc, you can go completely into crit if you want to. So you go full crit, and it's just double guaranteed slash proc and hit really hard. But that being said, who wants to do a slide attack before a heavy attack? To me, it's pretty awkward, so I don't use it very often, but it can still do a lot of damage. Additionally, it is a melee mobility stat stick too, giving 20% movement speed. And also keep in mind, guys, all these Incarnons are purchasable at any time from Caballero. This week, rotation is always purchasable from Caballero. But you can also just grind it out this week as well. But yeah, a relatively low suggestion on the Anku Incarnon. For the Gorgon Incarnon, I actually was having some fun with this one the other day. It's really not top tier. Like, you should still go for the Boar over this. But on the Prisma Gorgon, I was using the Gorgon Incarnon. And it's pretty fun. It's not top tier, though, as I said. But as far as what the Incarnon form does, this full auto machine gun will enter into Incarnon form after getting some headshots. After you're in Incarnon form, the machine gun becomes a delayed explosion heat projectile. So you still fire the bullets pretty fast, but they have an impact hit and then an explosion hit like a second afterwards. It does extra fire damage. Pretty good, but the main reason you want to use this weapon is because if you have the old Metamorphic Magazine Augment mod, this Metamorphic Magazine Augment mod would actually let you petrify enemies with the Gorgon weapon, and it works on some like elite enemies too. So after 20 cumulative attacks, the enemy will be petrified for 5 seconds. You can use that, but it's not available anymore, so if you don't have that, it's less enticing for sure. So probably like 3rd or 4th place on the Gorgon Incarnon this week. It's got decent stats, but it's an impact focused weapon at the end of the day. And the final Incarnon, the Angstrom Incarnon, is a rocket launcher pistol. And in the Incarnon form, well, actually, first off, this one can actually build Incarnon charge off body shots, unlike almost every other Incarnon in the game. The Torrid and this can go off body shots to get their Incarnon charge. So get some body shots with this rocket launcher, and you're good to go. You can activate the Incarnon form, and the Incarnon form is a bouncing fireball launcher that if you hit one enemy, you'll home it on another enemy too. It has very good damage scaling. And with some of these perks like Critical Parallel, giving critical chance and critical damage, you could hit really, really hard. Like extremely hard, honestly. So I'd have this as a #2 suggestion today. So after reviewing all these Incarnons, we're going to do the order of goodness, basically. So #1, Boar. #2, Angstrom. But if you already have these, it'd probably be number 3, like, it's a toss between number 3 Anku and number 3 Gorgon. But yeah, I'd say maybe number 3 Anku, number 4 Gorgon, and number 5 Gammacore, just because it's very single target unless you're in Incarnon form. And yeah, the single target nature of it kind of ruins it, because its single target damage is really not that great either, unfortunately. So yeah, hope that was helpful to you guys. Some pretty good Incarnons you could always buy anytime. Alright, moving on to the Nightwave challenges. Keep in mind, the calendar system is very similar to Nightwave, so it's basically doing more Nightwave challenges than before. Alright, so starting with the first challenge here, we got Gatherer, collect 4,000 resources. Very easy to do on the new tile set. Just nuke it down with like the Brahma or whatever. And basically, by the way, Cyto 9 video in the next couple of days. Cyto 9 plus Brahma is amazing. Invaders, your second challenge. Complete 6 invasion missions of any type. Make sure they're on the capture or exterminate so you can do them really quickly. First, Elite Weekly, Ceremonial Evolution. Activate the Incarnon form of any Incarnon gun in mission, or any Incarnon weapon in mission 5 times. So if you don't have any Incarnons, the easiest Incarnons to get are probably going to be the Latum from the Zeromon, or if you have access to it, buy the Onos from the market, or the Ruvox from the market as well. But yeah, that's just a pretty easy Elite Weekly challenge if you have Incarnons. Last Elite Weekly, Speedster. Complete a capture mission in less than 90 seconds. So, Volt, Wukong, Nova, Titania, Gauss. Am I forgetting anybody obvious? Go on a Speedster frame, go to Ukko on the Void, nice and easy, quick completion. And then your permanent weeklies are here. Kill 30 Eximus, complete 15 missions, and kill 500 enemies. You'll get these done doing the calendar challenges for sure. And for your cred offering stuff here, let's see what we got. So we got our evergreen stuff at the top, which is Orc and Catalyst and Orc and Reactors. Keep in mind, these are lots of Nightwave creds to buy these, so it might not be exactly what you want to use your Nightwave creds on. But maybe you want to use them, but you shouldn't use them because there's so many Nightwave creds. We've got helmets here. We've got the Cycron Solstice skin. Very nice. I use this sometimes. The Cycron's very good. And looks like just pretty standard stuff. You're not seeing any arcane helmets that accidentally got added or anything like that. Alright. And as far as the aura mods here, we got lots of aura mods and arcane or augment mods this week. So we've got enemy radar, pistol scavenger, shotgun scavenger, loot detector, and dreamer's bond. So as far as which ones of these are the best, enemy radar and loot detector are the ones I like the most, with loot detector being a better recommendation over enemy radar because we have built-in enemy radar nowadays. But loot detector gives you 30 meters of loot radar, lets you see loot from a lot farther away, which means you can pick up syndicate medallions and stuff like that a lot easier. Also marks mods in the ground. For the augment mods, we got deadly maneuvers, napalm grenades, dizzying rounds, which you should definitely have, precision strike, and critical precision. So yeah, like I said, the dizzying rounds mod is available this week. It is a must-use on the Bronco Incarnon. If you hit an enemy with shots from 8 meters away, it will stun them and open up for finishers, and also gives you 200% status chance. So very massive upgrade on the Bronco Incarnon. If you don't have this, you should definitely get it. It's only 20 Nightwave creds. So yeah, highly recommend this one. Other ones, pretty okay. Magnus, Deadly Maneuvers gets lots of crit chance. Napalm Grenades for the Penta makes it a completely different weapon, basically. Precision Strike for the Tonkor gives lots of reload speed on a direct hit, but I don't usually run it. And Critical Precision for the Burstin gives lots of crit chance, but you have to be, for the Tiburon, not the Burstin. You have to be using the Tiburon in the first place. Alright, and as far as the final items here, we've got some Mastery Fodder stuff. We've got the Jaw Sword, Plasma Sword, Dark Dagger, Dark Sword, and Pangolin Sword. A lot of Mastery that is available this week. And for the final stuff, you've got Skull Shots of the Viper, Deceptive Bond for Loki, and Purging Slash for Exhale. Nothing really worth picking up there. And I think that's basically your weekly reset, guys. As I stated, the calendar did not reset this week because DE want to give you a little bit more time to grab the first week. That'll be available next week. But yeah, lots of other good stuff to farm and things like that nature. So if you want to max out your dating sim and all that every day, keep in mind there was a dating sim glitch last night. Some players have been able to get every, basically infinite dating sim dialogue, and they've gotten the entire thing unlocked. That didn't happen to me, so try to keep those be careful about those spoilers. You care about that lore, so be aware of that. There are some glitches causing spoilers from some players out there. It's not intended for sure. But as far as these invigorations here, these are going to be good in face-off. Hopefully we got Frost, Ash, and Corvex. These are random per player per week. And let's see what I got this week. So, starting off with the Frost, we got increased ability range by 100% and 5 jump resets. So that's pretty good, giving a ton of extra range on Frost to freeze the entire room. Second one for Ash, we got increased energy maximum and increased secondary crit chance. That's pretty good for Ash, as he is, usually invisible with his smoke shadow. So having secondary crit chance will make his pistol red crit for sure. So good stuff there. Energy max. I don't normally run Prime Flow on Ash. This is like, a little bit of comfort, wiggle room right there. And for the final invigoration, we got it for Corvex, giving parkour velocity and secondary damage. Okay. That could be maybe decent for face-off to get like Aki-core damage, I suppose. But either way, not the best invigoration. Probably the best one for Frost, giving ability range. But yeah, guys, hopefully you found this video fun, helpful. I will see you on stream very soon. And yeah, go get those Incarnons. See you at the new calendar next week. And I'll be making videos every day this week with Warframe stuff. Appreciate all the support. Take it easy. Peace.